Yo, yo, I haven't even been recording. Oh my god. Oh my god. Well, we're gonna start the recording now. Oh my fucking god. That's hilarious. That is hilarious. I had one job. HP, you're even in here? That's amazing. Oh my god. All right, I'm not gonna subject you guys all to like what I did in the I will go back. I will go back, I guess. But we'll start with this part with the open because I did kind of cover recent price action and then I covered that. But anyways, here we go. NQ is entering like another unfilled gap all the way down to 19,251. Crazy if it hit. I'm sure most of you guys know already that I got the top step ban, so that's that's no fun, right? But um I'm thinking we should just like do something fun with it, right? Because I can still trade the account for some reason, but they have no intention of they have no intention of paying me out, right? Like you can see, the account balance there is at 9,200, and then I got the other one. Hold on, I don't want to show the full account. Actually, hold on, I can just go on privacy streamer mode account name. Okay, there we go. So there you go. You can see I got another one, 11,614. So we'll do copy trading. We'll link these two accounts together. And we'll just do something stupid with it. Have some fun. Coin flip. Oh, not coin clip, coin flip. All right. Heads we go long, tails we go short. All right, we're going short. Good thing. Let's just see. No, it's on 15. All right.
Order filled.
There we go. Okay. We're gonna have some fun with it because they're not gonna pay me anyways. And I think we're gonna get stopped. It's gonna be like an instant stop because that's a terrible one. Potential spam. Anyways, we're not gonna watch that. I'm gonna move that off to another screen and we'll see what happens. But I'm pretty sure I'm gonna get stopped. Anyways, all right. So what I was saying here is like looking at the charts, the 2 minute chart off of the open, right? It's not a long here. It's not a repeatable setup here, right? We're nearly not going to be long until we're breaking over this with strength, and we're back to break even, and we're starting to see the buyers really pick things up, right? So this people might interpret this as like maybe like a micro lower or higher low. However, oh, here comes the stop. Here comes the stop.
Order filled.
There it is. All right. Fuck it. So anyways, it's not though, right? And you can see how this price action here, when we push up, we fail to actually move anything higher, right? And what we do here is we have this nice like strong bullish engulfing candle, which probably threw people off. Again, we can't break overview up. Again, we can't close over the opening print. So especially, on major trend days when we have, large moves, we when we can't break over the opening print, it can be a really strong and like telling signal about where the price action is likely to go. And so you see, then we can't break over the opening print. Twice we failed to close over the opening print. We just break over and we wick down. Then finally we get this one last candle here that pushes up and a nice spike down. Acceptable short risk here, right? Very acceptable short risk. Like I understand, like you might be looking for it to pull back into the body, but it just knifed through the candles. And even if you don't want to take any of this and you want to wait, right? Like you have a very, very good entry here as well, which looks like you probably would have gotten the scale or at least getting the scale here. On this candle entry, right? But anywhere that you entered short above the opening print was of course fantastic, and anywhere down here, was also fantastic. And then the price just waterfalls off, right? Like I think I said, this is a 130 point 10-minute candle. So, so pretty good, right? So let's look at the same thing on ES really quickly for those of you who are ES traders. So ES, not quite as clean, right? Not showing you the same thing. You move down. Yeah, you hit the London Open, you hit the London Orb low, you don't break pre-market low. So this doesn't get broken. You push up or whatever. This looks like, some, profit-taking buyers trying to push. Again, really quickly, because I didn't mark this on ES, but I marked it on NQ. I want to see where was the OPEX. Oh, it was all the way down here. All right, I'm just going to put a price level. Okay, price level 3. All right, so going back to the 2-minute chart, we weren't even there yet, like we were on NQ. Yeah, it takes us a little bit to hit that area. And then when we do, there's still a very, very strong reaction, actually. Look at what happened when we came down here and hit that OPEX. We hit that OPEX like algo demand in the last 10 minutes when the algo kicked on, and it just was a force of buying. When we came back down here, we hit this is the same, almost the same level, the open to the T, and then we push back up, and we push back up into the pre-market low. When we push in that pre-market low and we can't break over that, the next candle fails to break and close above that, again, it's still a short, right? And so that's where it's just some, 10 a.m. profit taking. It moves down, right? The candle moves down. That's the first move, right? The news comes out, it moves down, turns around, moves back, can't sustain price any higher, and it flushes. Am I making sense? Because I am recording. Yeah, that's basically what's happening, bro. They're not answering. They're not answering. Oh, I know, dude. It wouldn't go for 10K. Well, it was a bracket order, so I don't particularly care. I mean, that still leaves me with 18,000 between the two accounts, and so I feel like I'll just heads or tails it once a day. And then, which honestly, this looks pretty prime for another short entry right here, but I'm not going to try it. But once a day or whatever, and then, we'll see what happens. See how many days I can get away with doing that. It's just like being fun. So anyways, this is still the same thing, right? Like when you're looking at it on, if we go back to the higher time frame, when you're looking at, oh my God, this is like too much going on here. Okay, so if you're looking at this on the higher time frame, like what was happening here? And we broke down, we broke under this pivot, we broke under the previous day's closing area, we pushed back up, and we can't sustain price above VWAP. We move down, we break the previous day's low. We come back up, right? So what did we do? We broke over the golden zone, couldn't sustain price, move back down. Hold in the golden zone, flush, come all the way back down to the other end. Move back up to the golden zone of this portion, this leg of the market, right? And we break down a little bit below it. We move back up again, still can't break over that area, and then we flush, right? So it's a lot like I talked about in the last time I did one of these, where it's like, here's your strong high. How do I know this is a strong high? Because it made, right through here, a lower low. So if this is a strong high, it is going to continue to be a strong high until it's broken and price sustains above it. So strong high moves down here. Push up. This would be a scale trigger if we got close to here, but we don't. When we don't get close to it and then we start to move back down, right? Now we move down. And realistically, I would say that now this area is the strong high. Like, well, we're just going to put this in here. Why would I say that? Well, because this is what made us hit a new lower low, right? Just barely, but still. And this is protected. This is the intermediate, like inside the range high. And we move down. So then we move back up. Now we're moving back up. What's happening? We're moving back up and we're hitting the same area. Because you could even say it's like this area that made the, like, because we moved down and moved back up. This is like the most recent lower high to push down. This area gets defended. When this area gets defended, we push back down, pop up, and we're shorting off of this level. So this is kind of where a lot of people should probably be playing with like MES, because if you were looking at the whole structure and you were saying, okay, well, we pushed up on this candle, we pushed up, we wicked into here, and then we kind of came back down. That's my current high of day. Don't like how this looks, or whatever. It looks weak. If we push up again, once you see that push up and it starts to come back down, this is on the 940 candle. See that push up and starts to come back down, you should be questioning, hey, that's a strong high. this area here or wherever was a stronger high, and it held, and we already pushed down. We held this area, but now this is a weak low because it's failing to move me higher. This weak low is failing to continue to bring price up higher. So I know that if we move up, and then on the 940 candle, the 940 candle closes on right here. The next candle comes down. Okay. Well, it closed over the EMAs. The EMAs are crossing. That's fine. Let's see what happens. It pushes up. When this candle starts to come back down, and then, or even if it flips red, once it closes under here, if you waited for that candle to close, you know what's what now. And so realistically, if you get any short entries in the body of this candle, which failed to break over high of day, like this is it. And like truly, this is your risk, right? And how many times have we watched, how many times have we, let me on the stage now? Yeah, where are you? You ain't even in here, dog. This dude. I can't raise hand. Bro. Oh, shoot. There you are. Okay, hold on. Invite to speak. I invited you. You've been invited. Can't hear you, though. Hold on. Oh, bro. It's trying to output through my mic again. It's so dumb when it does that. Go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, bro.
Yeah,
What's good? What's up?
I need to know. Okay, Ripster said yes, bro.
That's fucking awesome.
Okay, that's all I had to say. Bye.
Later, bro. Yo, we're gonna interview Ripster on the pod. Fuck yeah. It's fucking sweet. Okay. So how many times, what I was starting to say is, how many times have you seen Maple take a trade and he enters and you're just like, yo, he's gonna risk high of day from here? Like, if you've ever like heard that, I noticed you deafened me, bro. Dude, like I couldn't hear all of a sudden. But how many times have you guys seen that, right? Like where you're like, oh damn, he's gonna enter in here, like that's almost 10 points risk. But like that's truly where the risk is, right? Like now you've come back down. At this point, like if you had nothing else to go off of, and like this is the point to drive home. If you had nothing else to go off of and you had this chart, it's a short. It's a short, it's a short, it's a short. You could say, well, they closed this candle right back above the previous day's low, like maybe they were trying to reclaim it. Yeah, but it's a short risk for up here. Like your long risk certainly is down here, but like you cross back down under the EMAs that like couldn't hold the cross. This is immediate weakness right off of the open when there's a lot of participants. This is immediate weakness. You could also see that these buyers who were trying to propel price higher right in through here are now stuck in getting out for break even. They're now adding to the selling pressure. It's a very, very clear short with risk right over that orange line here, this one here. Okay. So, and then the rest is history. The rest is really history. Damn. That was a bad coin flip. If we would have went long, we'd still be green. Terrible coin flip. Next time I'll flip a real coin. So, all right. So let's just look at it from a point of where are we likely to continue going. Unless there's anything else in particular that you all would like to review, or if you have a poor trade you'd like to review. I want to look at my SPX charts real quick. Okay, so SPX has this gap right here from the 13th to the 14th. And this was a legit gap and go. Came down and retested it, but they held the opening print with strength. So, yeah, we're getting down to that same area. We are getting down into this 30-minute pivot. How do I know that's a pivot? Well, you could turn on the line chart and you would see that clear as day. But I will do it for you. Boom. See it? If you're ever unsure about where your pivots are, put it on the line chart. Mark what you think is a pivot, put it on the line chart and see if you figure out where it is. Pivots are also drawn off of, and the line chart is drawn off of the bodies where the price closes, not where it wicks. Okay? Meta is still going short. Oh, there we go. There we go. Look at her. Here we go. Here we go. Oh, we're dropping now. Dude, tell me on this meta. Oh my god. You guys got to check out my X post from this morning. Like, literally this morning, I was like, Meta's got room to fill this gap. I literally said, if this doesn't hold, we're going to 574.21, and we almost went there in a day. What about Nvidia? Did it hit my? Damn, she's chopping. I'm trying to see if I want Nvidia to get down here to 108s. Okay. Oh, dude, did you have puts, Charles? Bro, what'd you have, dude? And why did you let them go? I don't even, dude, I don't want to talk about the meta puts I took an L on yesterday. Oh, it's still 250, 300% is pretty good. You had 590. Oh my god, you had the 595s. Oh my god. Oh my god. Dude. Yesterday I took an L on the 600s. Like I got in the 600s here. This essentially thinking like what happened here, I thought was going to happen here, where we came down and we didn't break the pre-market low, right? And this pained me, dude. And literally, I took the puts here, like just like around this area, because I think on the 2-minute chart, let me try to find the exact 2-minute candle I entered on. Yep. Hold on a second. There, Spencer's messaging me. But yeah, I took the puts like right here when this candle came back down and closed, and it was like almost instantly red. It was like almost an instant cut, because, and I really thought that, like, hey, we had come down here, we just, like, the way we pushed up, we came back down, we were still bearish, we were just gliding back upwards, and then when we came back down and closed, I was like, oh, okay, we're back under, with the EMAs are still here, we're good. Had I waited one more candle, I wouldn't have taken an L. Would I take that trade again? Probably so, because I had that bias of, like, well, one, that we were going to fill this gap under here, and then, you know, I just wasn't expecting the whole market to bounce the way it did yesterday, and that's what really did me in. And then look, it's very, very, you know, similar, even worse, right? Like, this 2-minute chart is a lot harder to follow until, you know, again, same thing as ES, right? Like, once it finally closes back down here, you get the bearish candle by candle flip short. You know, an entry anywhere in here, risking high of day was great for the puts, but this is tough because pre-market low had already been broken and that gap had already been filled. So, but you know, once you see this and you know failure to move higher once and twice, especially after you have this opening candle and then it wicks over and it comes back down. So really, you have 3 failed candle closures higher than the opening one. Oh, you took them yesterday too? My god, dude, when it failed 613, where was my notification on that, bro? Oh my god, dude. Oh my god. 300% though is still nothing to scoff at. You did pretty good. You definitely did pretty good. Oh shit, bro. Fucking awesome. Right. Price is moving lower. All right. Anyways, that shit sucked, dude. That really did suck. And what was the market looking like the first 20 minutes of the day yesterday? Yeah, it's good too. I think it's really important to cover that. Like, I took a loss. Yeah. So this was around the same. This was around the same exact time that I took those puts. And so I was watching the market and saw the same thing. Right? Is that, like, we moved down, but it didn't flip short. It didn't flip short. So we didn't flip back CBC bearish. The next candle waited one more candle, I would have been good. So because had I seen this candle and the candle on Meta, I wouldn't have taken puts. And then the Tesla one yesterday really bugs me because I was legitimately watching right here, and I hesitated on taking the calls, and then it gave another chance right here, which on this move down actually was like a prime entry on the options contracts too. And then as you can see, the rest is history with Tesla. But this is why you got to really scale into strength, right? So if you look at the 10-minute chart, 10-minute chart cleared some levels I got to clean up. But this is not even my right drawing set. Here we go. Yep, this is exactly what I was looking for. So I was looking for us to break over through this way. We ended up flying through here. We broke over 290s, and then, of course, we knifed back down. This was deeply concerning when we pushed back off of the low of this gap. As we broke it, came back down, hit the gap level. You can see how they tried to hold it. They pushed back up. No strong closes below. And then once we had that knife, I knew high of day was in with absolute certainty, and this was the lower high here to be protected. So going forward, definitely gonna watch this supply. It's out. Okay. So hold on, let me see. Okay. I have NVIDIA. The reason I messaged or whatever the support is I have NVIDIA puts and they're in the money, and I don't want them to automatically close them out for me, as they did this before me once, whatever. And then of course there was like a sudden drop, and I was like, you guys just literally spoiled my day. So I have a stop, on the contracts, and then but they're the 112s, so they're like deep in the money. Anything you guys want to cover? Yeah, you did say that. Bro, you know what? Yeah, dude, for real. Oh, I remember seeing this now too. For real, bro, we just gotta stay in the skilled floor. We gotta stay in the skilled floor because there's just too much in stacks chat. Skilled floor is where to go. I don't know if you're still hearing my voice. Let me check, dude. You might, and honestly, you might NQ. Spy levels watching on ES. Axis post yesterday, and there was really good. I don't think so. No, I don't think you did. This is going back on the 26th. I don't see anything. And also for everybody else out there, like, you definitely want to be reading the skill for, because we're posting some good stuff in there. All right. So I'm watching that. We're good there. We're not really seeing anything move lower. If we go back to just watching the overall market really quick here, so we're breaking over. We broke over, cleared over this gap, so I can turn this gap off now, which I will do like this. So now it'll just be finished at the end of the day, as you can see there. And I turned off the writing too, which makes it easier. Me, what is skilled floor? It's a whole friggin', you didn't even know? Shit. It's a whole ass thing. Oh, thank you, Spencer S. All right, so yeah, we are bouncing on the unfilled portion of this gap right here on NQ, and we're trying to potentially base under the Newcon gap up here on ES. So I got a video to put out about adjusting and not adjusting your charts. So hopefully I will get that out to you guys this weekend, and I'll post that in the skill floor. For NQ, what we're looking at here on this gap level. All right, thank you, Spencer. Have a good day. That friggin' ring is annoying. Here we go. So the day before, the day prior to the new option contract gap up, the 13th into the 14th, you can see there was a really sizable gap up, and the market held it with strength, and we continued to move higher, right? So, so pretty Pretty good move there. And now we're really saying it another way. This is the 314 low of day. Is where we're bouncing right now, and where buyers are potentially holding. Nice tweezer bottom look on the 30-minute chart. It is 2 p.m. so could see some retracement. Yeah, yes, and the VIX is back under 22. I didn't cover that either. Like with watching the VIX in the morning, is like if all you had was the first 3 candles of the day, this is still pretty bullish. I think that it's common to think that like, hey, we broke over this, right? We broke over what was essentially the session high, right? And we did it first, and then we moved down. But that's the key point is we did it first, and we moved down. And when we moved down, we waked under this pivot low, but ultimately the pre-market low area held. The pre-market low area holds, and we move back to the other direction now. Which side is the one that's the strong section, and which side is the weaker one, right? So strong lows, weaker highs. How do we know? Weak high fails to produce a new lower low. This weak high is getting taken out. Regardless, the other thing too, guys, like look at the big picture and just think about this objectively. Nothing has been going good lately. The University of Michigan Consumer Sentiment Report, or whatever, is a lot of times very, very politically biased, right? You look at the party of people that's probably taking the survey versus the party that's in office. It doesn't look good. It doesn't line up. And then on top of that, the party that's in office is fine with the market moving down because we need to refinance our debt as a country. So we got to have the rates drop. And that's all he's been talking about is rate drop, rate drop, rate drop. So if all the data continues to come out and be bad, he's just going to try to continue to exert pressure and force on Jerome Powell to cut the rates because that's what his prerogative is. I'm not trying to be political. I'm not trying to say it's right or wrong and debate the politics of it. I'm just trying to say, like, objectively speaking, what's really going on here? Because objectively speaking, if you looked at it, how many of us were sitting back through the last like 4 years that we were trading in when somebody else was in office and looking at this like, can't possibly go higher. Look at the price of food. Look at the price of this. Everything's up, everything's up, everything's up. And then what would happen? The data would come out and it would go higher. And the data would come out and it would go higher. And a lot of times it was like, well, we're just going to keep going up. So, and if we were sitting back confused, well, like, look what's going on, right? Like, what people say in all different ways, shapes, and forms of market manipulation, but like, just look at it, right? Regardless of all of that, the price action preceded the news. The price action preceded the news. There were no strong closes over the EMAs or VWAP on either index, right? I mean, you had one close, one candle close over VWAP and the EMAs. The next candle was right back under. That's not strong. That's not strength. Look at NQ. I'll go one more candle over. That's the first 3 candles. This doesn't look good. Now, most of us should not be taking a trade and entering into a trade immediately when the news hits. So that's fine. When the news hits, if you want to wait a minute for it to settle out, or 2, right? I don't know, depending on what broker you're on, I might have to wait a minute or 2. But like, it wasn't all of a sudden like it was just going to be a surge upwards. And we can try to put, I'm going to go to a clear, I want to just be on a clear drawing set and go to a 1-minute chart. Well, most of us are probably watching the 2, but let's look at the 1. I'll put even VIX on the 1-minute chart, which I rarely look at, but in times where there's news or you're at like a key inflection point, here's what I want to do. I want to call this out. 1-minute chart. Okay, so this is your 10 a.m. candle. We're on the 1-minute time frame here. What do you see? Does this look bearish to you? Does anybody think this looks bearish? No. No, please tell me no. This doesn't look bearish. Right here on VIX, where my mouse is. That looks good. Man, that looks like, holy shit, we moved up. We take this big move up. We got a nice bull flag here. Bull flag. Till we get a candle to close under. It's bullish. Boom. That's bearish for the market. Let's look closely here at NQ. Here's your 10 a.m. candle. This is all I want to go with, right? This is your 10 a.m. candle. 10 a.m. candles. That's all you got. Where does that look bullish, guys? It doesn't. So the move happens quick, and that quickness in your mind will create doubt and uncertainty, which is how the market is. If you can't read it because it's moving too fast, you can't trade it. So just sit out. We just wait. We can then see what actually starts to unfold. That's the first minute. Second minute. Right? And I'm going to set this up too so that second minute. Looks like it's sitting on the orb. Yeah, it's not breaking out just yet. It hit the high, came back down. Nothing too great. Another doji there. Okay. I can understand, and I get it, why people would think like, hey, let me try the long here. It's now 2 times we couldn't close the candle below the orb. I understand that. But you have to accept that you are fighting the prevailing trend, which is downward. On all time frames, it's downward. And the easier trade is to wait for the pullback to short. Again, another doji candle on the 3rd minute in. Now, if you're not in a position, I would be concerned. How come the sellers are pushing it down and the buyers are pushing it back up, and we're just in this tug of war area and we're not getting anywhere? Right? And like, yeah, you could say, okay, well, ES like started to push up, but ES broke over that EMA and then still closed right on it, right? And regardless, you're not getting anywhere in terms of you're not closing higher than like the 10 a.m. candle, not really reclaiming anything. At this point, at 10:04, you should know with absolute certainty your long idea is cooked. You broke over the prior 2 candles here. You made it only halfway up on this upper wick. Bingo, right there. And you've now flipped back down lower. VIX is still holding. I shouldn't have deleted that flag. I knew I shouldn't have, but you know, if you wanted to draw it like this, or just want to draw it like this, or whatever, VIX is still holding the flag, right? You're not closing anything below. You wick down again into that lower wick and you pop back up, and now you have, you know, again, a tie for the highest candle closure in the day. You're also just holding over all your EMAs, and after you have a 1 minute 20 tap here, you're still bullish, okay? Your long trade idea is cooked. More confirmation that your long idea is cooked, okay? Because if it was going to move up, it would be moving up. At this point, though, the biggest clue, which you would have seen if you had this on a 10-minute chart or a 5-minute chart or a 2-minute chart. It doesn't matter what chart you had VIX on. The biggest clue is VIX is moving up and price action looks weak. It looks weak enough that maybe I don't know which way it's going to go. But with VIX moving up, probably should just short as high as I can get an entry because it's going to fall. And VIX moves up. And there you go. So like what I would challenge anybody who watches this video to do is to go back when they took a losing trade or they took a winning trade, or they saw a really good trading opportunity but they didn't take it, or they were fearful of taking it, or whatever. Just look at the opportunities on the chart and review them like this. And if you continue to review them like this, your trading will continue to improve because I am reading the dialogue every minute as it is playing out. And if you only ever watch a 2-minute chart, that's fine, but read what's happening on your 2-minute candles, right? And so we'll just quickly look at that because I know everybody trades the 2 and the 10 now with Maple, which is great. He's an amazing teacher. And, well, a lot of us are making a lot of money because of him, right? So if it ain't broke, don't fix it, guys. He's already writing the playbook for you. If you're watching the 2-minute now, it's so obvious. Like, so obvious. The first candle closes here, like this. Confusion, sure. Looks like pre-market low, breaking base a little bit, yada yada, whatever. You know your long idea is cooked before this, but really probably before this candle closes. You can see it's getting cooked. You just see it. See this is moving up. And then you get the next 2 minute candle and you know it. You know it's just done. It's just done. Even if you caught the bottom, just get out and take your profit. That's it. Hopefully this makes sense. And on that note, I'm going to bounce. I'm going to go talk to my daughter for a few minutes and go pick up my other daughter from school. And then I'm going to re-record the first piece there that I didn't record about like the price action occurring around 11:30 and kind of the areas with the algo, I think, as well. And if you guys have any questions or you need anything, let me know. But hopefully you enjoyed this little segment. I'll get this whole video posted and hope that it was helpful. If it wasn't helpful, it would actually be helpful if some of you messaged me and said, hey, Joe, that shit wasn't helpful. Stop wasting your time. So I wasn't wasting my time, but it helps me, you know, and I didn't get to trade at all this morning. So appreciate you all. Have a good rest of your day. Have a good weekend.
Forever! Forever!
One eternity later.
All right, so in typical Joe fashion, I thought I started a recording and I didn't. And I talked about all this price action right here and how, you know, people might have thought that we were reversing. And I don't know if this is what people refer to as like a fishhook pattern here. But you can see that, you know, ES, NQ, and the VIX are all moving in a similar way, right? I've covered my thoughts on the VIX like many, many times. I've talked about how I systematize VIX. And I specifically talk about the bases loaded setup, right? Which shout out Robbie Robsky for helping me name that. Which is I won't trade long or short unless, you know, all three of these are showing the same direction. However, there are times where the market structure is showing me something slightly different, and I want to be mindful of that, right? So looking at this, here we have, right here on this candle, 11:30, we have the first CBC flip. Now, this flip occurs on all three at the exact same time. And it was shortly after this candle that I was actually talking with Robbie, and he had said something about like, if we close over 600, then I think we were bullish. And I took a peek at the charts, and I was in a meeting and was not able to trade. I didn't get to trade any of this, unfortunately. But I said that I thought that was wrong. And because I thought that because this was the first flip here into the EMAs, that this was not going to be enough to sustain price action further. And the following candle showed us that. Okay, so what I'm really trying to call out here for everybody is that if we look at this candle by candle flip right into the EMAs, right, again, this kind of looks like that fish hook, like, I got you, bull, and then we're going to fall. Inverted look here, right? Kind of looks like this, like almost like a candy cane setup where it was here and then it takes off, and then we got another one, right? And even a little micro one just pushes up, little lip. And so I did not think that we would be able to go higher. In fact, I thought we were going to go much lower. And if you look at this, we've gone almost 200 points lower since like me saying that around this time frame. And I remember like coming back like a few minutes later and be like, boom, there we go, new low of day. So and of course, we made a new low of day on NQ, and we didn't make one on ES. And I know that sometimes that'll like fake people out, and they'll be different thinking about different things. But sorry, I had to yawn. But just remember that, you know, the market is heavy, right? And like from a psychological perspective, really important to just have this weigh in on you that the bottom's really not in until the bottom is in, and like you need to see like true signs of reversal, right? So you know, you need to see, you know, higher lows and higher highs. You know, you need to see the EMAs are which are just a visual representation of price history, because they do lag a little bit. So that's why I say price history. You know, you need to see them, you know, starting to turn upwards, etc. And you don't have that, right? This is just a clear push into the EMAs, and you can see that there was a little like softening of this move down, but it was by no means a turn, right? And you didn't get, you know, any sort of like curl back upwards to try to base price action off. Even if and then if we went to the 2 minute time frame, which we did do on the first run, so I want to make sure I do that here. Went to that first 2 minute time frame, you know, you'll see it too. But again, first pullback to the 10-minute 9 EMA, right? Same thing on all of them. Now, this would be an instance where you have bases loaded, and we would be showing green up here, bases loaded long, right? Which would be ES CBC long, VIX TBC short, and QCBC long. That would be 3 green lines in a row there. That'd be bases loaded for the long setup, okay? But the market structure does not support this, all right? So the other thing too is that this is your initial balance, right? So the initial balance is the first 1 hour price action. So on TOS, Thinkorswim, this is where the 1030 candle ends, right? So this is essentially, and this is where it begins. So this would be the end of the 1020 candle on the 10 minute. It would be the end of the 10 a.m. candle on the 30 minute, right? Because this is when the candle ended. So when that candle ended, this was the ultimate like low of day. So you can see we made the initial balance. The initial balance range would be here to the RTH, regular trading hours, high of day session here, and it's about a 300-ish point spread. That is a really large initial balance, and many times when you have an initial balance that's both that large and on a non-news day, there is over a 90% chance that we are not going to break the other side. I actually think it's like maybe like 88% chance that we don't even go back to the other side. So like you know with like relatively high certainty that one side of the range is completely fixed and is not going anywhere. That being said, it doesn't mean that we couldn't have a substantial pullback. And we've of course seen days where we make this initial balance and we kind of go all the way up almost to like the aura blow, or maybe we make this move and we come back up to like the midline there around 750s, etc. But you would see the buyers really stacking up, and you're not seeing this here. Yes, you have an inverted 10-minute candle. Yes, you have another 10-minute candle prior, and then you break the CBC here. You break higher, but you ultimately close like right around here, which is questionable. This of course being into the EMAs, this is a reclaim. I think this is the daily 9 EMA is right here on VIX. Let's see that real quick. So we're looking at 2021. Yep, I'm sorry, that's the daily 20 EMA. So it's crossing back over the daily 20 EMA. This is a really, really bullish move on the VIX on the daily chart, okay? So let's go back to charts that I had. I'm going to go back to the clear drawing set. Wow, look at it going now. Another little mini H pattern there. So you see this, and you see this up here, and this following candle really tells you everything, because this candle, not only does it fail to close higher, but it actually moved lower than this candle, right? So it's like, that's more than a deep pullback. That's showing you buyer weakness. So if you held through this, or if you bought through here, you bought in the mid wick and you say, well, I'll wait for the candle to close. Look, it closed right here. This is not looking good. If we go to the 2 minute, and this is the 1140 candle, so we know exactly where we're looking on the 2 minute chart. Here is the beginning of the 1140 candle. So up until this point, right, if you just, what I stressed the first time around was, if you just had this, right, and this was all you saw, does this not look like it's trying to round back over? Sellers are trying to regain. I've also said several times that like, I don't particularly like to go long inside of this like black void. I've called it like the black river, etc., etc. I realize that this is the 512 cloud, and I have my 9 and 20, but between the 20 EMA and the 34, this area here is very, very low probability longs in my experience, and is much higher probability shorts in my experience, especially shorting here, risking there, or whatever, and of course that's a good 30-ish points. It's a lot of risk, but you see, we end up breaking low of day, and we end up continuing down, of course, much, much further. So these 3 candles, though, like right here, in the absence of everything else, start to appear like it's rounding over. You do have your 10-minute candle by candle is flipped bullish, your 2-minute CPC is bullish, but you've broken over this pivot. Now, I would think that this is a weak high, and why would I think this is a weak high? Because this weak high here, right, although it pushed over here, it broke over this price action and closed above it. It couldn't close over any of these weak wicks here, but this also weak high couldn't push to a new low of day. So when we break this, this becomes like kind of the strong low or strong micro low that I'm looking to protect inside of this internal price action market structure. Okay, so like when you're looking at this, and you see this sort of price action, and you see that, okay, well, we held the low of day here. The buyers are still sitting here in these wicks, And there's, you can tell this either profit taking from sellers or whatever. You can sit there in here, boom. Well, we push up and then we break over this. So I would be hoping to see that this is going to sustain. So I would be totally happy and fine with seeing, a pullback and holding, even if it held like right through here, but not like a knife candle like this. This shows me that the bulls tried to push it back up. The sellers really stepped in again here and they moved down lower, right? Which makes sense. If we had a 2-minute line chart on, and we'll put that on, but I'm going to put this zone right here. If we had a 2-minute line chart, what would we see? We would see that price move down, it ping pong ball up here, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It moves down, right? It's going to move down, and then it moves back up here, and it barely clears over this high, but now it's fallen back lower. So we're going to put that on a line chart. So if you're ever curious or you're struggling to find pivots or whatever, look at the line chart. So you see, moves down, push up, kind of double bottom here, up, right? And again, slightly higher low, you can see that. Makes the higher high over here. Now I'm looking for a higher low to hold. This higher low doesn't hold. So what I'm trying to really get at here is everybody's itching for the reversal. And when they're itching for the reversal, they're looking to get in. Okay, CBC is long. The 2-minute EMAs have crossed, right? But that's not what we're really looking at. That's not what we're really talking about here. We want to see a higher low potentially hold. And even this one would be a micro higher low. It pushes back up, okay, but I can't quite go long there yet because the EMAs are still, now they're back bearish. So now I need to see this push back up. And so what I had demonstrated earlier was if I was to see, and I'll move out of the way, if I was to see this sort of push up and then come back down in base, maybe not even that high, but come back down in base, or, it breaks over, like it does something like this, like where maybe it moves to here and then it bases up here, right? Like on this area or on this area, especially even like looking at the 5 or the 10-minute chart, I could see that this is an area of importance. So even if we wick down, but the body's essentially closed like up in here, and we still have the 2-minute EMA support and it's looking strong, then I would be looking for that for continuation. Notice a lot of times that when we get like really good moves for continuation, a lot of times that the like, especially for trend reversal, you will have price that's sort of like, it's either just like rapidly the bids are stacking on top of each other, which I can think there was an example of that like right here. Yeah. So like, look at how like it moved up. They hold this, they don't flip CBC back to short. They push back up. You see the bids are stacking. Then they hold like the mid candle of this, and then they push back up, right? So like, and then here, they're failing to close lower, and like this ultimate like big bullish candle doesn't get breached, right? This candle that yielded you a new high of day is now holding. So I'm looking for this area to hold, right? But also when I'm talking about looking for a break and a base on a key area, look at how this plays out for the reversal. You have this first candle here, you move down, you breach over this, right? And then it holds, and high of day holds, but then it holds again, it holds higher, and you can't wick down lower. This is ultimately one of your best entry signals right here, because you let the consolidation play out. You let the price action play out. You see how we sit the candle back down, and VWAP held the whole entire time. The 2-minute 20 held, only one candle closes below. Instantly it's reclaimed. If you were short from here, this is your exit signal. 100% this is an exit signal. Get out and move. And what do you think happened here? Skilled market participants viewed this as an exit signal. And so there was a churn of orders here, and boom, new high of day, right? If you didn't get out short, that's definitely an exit signal. Anybody in through here, they add to the buying pressure. Maybe a little bit of profit taking on that one, no reason to stop, and then it continues higher, right? And so you see that, like even this one, it does look like it starts to round. It comes back down into the 2-minute 9, right? It wicks lower, it comes back up, closes back above. You're still good to go on the long, right? Even though 2-minute CBC isn't long, you're still good to go on the long. And it's telling you that it's like, hey, you wick down through here, we're holding, okay? So going back to today, right? I can't stress this enough. There's a lot of, well, maybe this is the bottom. It looks like the bottom's in. I think the bottom's in the bottom. Like, look, it's not the bottom until it's the bottom, okay? And you're going to know that when the big market participants are telling you that. You're not a big market participant, and neither am I. So we need to just play our hand accordingly, right? So now, when this fails, okay, And when this fails and you make a new low of day, do you chase? No, that's a scale trigger. And what do you think happened here? Profit taking, a little more profit taking, a little more profit taking, boom, right into the 2-minute 20. This 2-minute 20 holds and doesn't get breached. Next candle holds, breaches, respect, flushes back down. You get the pullback. Patient traders got an awesome entry pullback here. And if you took a pullback entry, and I'm just going to try to draw it there so it doesn't magnetize to a random level. If you got a pullback entry and maybe, you see this candle go green, it flips red, and then boom, you're like, I'm taking it. I'm taking it. That's good. And you take it and you risk this high, so you'd be risking about 12. Shit, all the way up here would give you 20 points risk, right? Which is pretty good. That's 77 points. And I'm not even giving you the low. If I give you to like there, that's 68 points. So that's over a 3-to-1 RR there on that trade. That's fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. If you look at this attempt here, you could see very, very clearly. Look how the buyers tried to hold here. The buyers try to hold it again. They flip candle by candle and they get flushed. When those buyers get flushed, what are they looking to do? They're looking to exit. They exit here, their first opportunity to get out, which lines up very well with the low of this candle. They're out. They turn into selling pressure. Anybody who's left, they want to get out too. They want to jump ship, and boom, they're out. These buyers who were here, these buyers try to hold. Let's move this across. Oh my God, sorry. These buyers who are here, it's not as clean, but it's the same thing here, right? When this moves up here or whatever, they turn into sellers and move back down. They're in here, they're trying to get out. Or maybe some of them are trying to defend. You have a little bit of profit taking, pushes back up, try again. They try again, and ultimately they fail. And when they fail big time, right? And that's when that's probably buyers stopping out. When you get buyers stopping out, that's what creates that big waterfall. Okay, huge. So the big point I was trying to make there is that it's not the bottom until it's the bottom, and looking for what are key signs for a real reversal. And this isn't it, right? You really have nothing here. I cannot stress enough to just like review this when really go over with a fine tooth comb, because the failed reversals will tell you a lot, and there's a lot of opportunity to get in here for continuation short. I would say though that in this area was of course like the best entry, and not because I can see that it waterfalls after, but like you have the candle by candle flips back bearish, bullish, and then back bearish, right? And so it flushes down and makes a new low of day. The pivot's already broken. That's the tough part, is the pivot's already broken, but then they show you they're defending the 2-minute 20. So when you get a pullback entry in here, that's a really good entry to go short. Now, if you were playing off of like market structure or whatever, you kind of have like this like head and shoulders look, right? Like shoulder, head, shoulder. Yeah, I totally get that. And actually too, I'm sure if we draw a fib from this high, oh my God, like look at that, right into the golden zone of that move. You can tell where people want to get out, they want to get in, whatever, and they want to go short. Let's put this on a few different time frames. So we'll look at it on the 5. So here's on the 5. The 5-minute was extremely telling too, right? Because again, I'm just gonna go full screen on this bad boy. So again, you have the 5-minute chart, right? Like this 5-minute is showing you exhaustion, right? So why do you have a doji here? Right? Like if you're watching 10-5-2, because especially if you're trading minis and you're just price action scalping, right? If you're watching the 5, why would you have a doji here? If this was bullish off the lows and you're creating a double bottom and you got here and you broke over this pivot, why would you have a doji here? Like, if the bulls were strong, shouldn't we just be making our next move up? Like even if we put in like a tight body candle that only got to like here, and it'd be like still concerning, because the breadth, like the width, the sort of the dynamic of the candle is lessening. So like if you had big candle, you can see very clearly, right? From this low to this high is 41.75 points. From this one to high to low is only 38.25, right? So the candle did get smaller. Then you look here, this is 34 on the body, and this is only 23. So what I'm seeing here is like from a body perspective where they held the open to the close, this is only 2/3 the size of this one. And then you get this one that's like really small. So it's like, red flag, CBC flips back short. Like it don't matter even if you hold to the candle close. You've now closed back under the 5-minute 9. It's a short now. And if you're long, you need to get out, right? Like, it's a short. It's going to continue to be a short, and it's a alarming thing, right? And have to know that just based off of like, look at the structure, look at the initial balance level, look at the way you've come up and you've just barely cleared this pivot and then it turned weak again. Everything is just weak. You're not getting a push off of the low. Okay. And you can see even like now, like looking at what's going on here on this 5-minute chart, like, yes, you can see some semblance of like a double bottom, etc. Right? Like, here, double, right? And then here, and then again here. So like, there's a clear buyer's bid that's being set up and tried to hold at the 450 level, which I think, yeah, is really, you have 314's low of day here. You were sitting in the top half of this, top portion of this gap. Because there was a gap from 313 into 314. There was a huge gap up. And so you can see there's a lot there, a lot of meat. And I think that we probably will go down there and fill that up, especially if we go to the daily chart. I know, just God bless, there's a lot of levels. We just look at like where we are. Like, I'll zoom out just slightly. Look at how this looks. And like, I mean, realistically speaking, are we not going to just keep going lower? Like, why wouldn't we keep going lower? Is this really going to hold here? And it might, and here's your daily 325 SMA again. Shout out to Banana and his crazy self, always being bullish. But it's not looking the best, right? It's really not looking the best. You're under last week's low. What basis do we have to go long here? We don't. So it's not the bottom until it's the bottom, okay? So until we have any sort of confirmation, it's not a long, right? So really, again, just covering that point there, looking at the I need to clean that list up too. It just reminded me. So looking at that first slip back into the EMA is not, and then the following candle was enough, right? Even if you didn't look at all the other stuff, just the following candle on the 10-minute chart was enough, right? Especially if you're trading micros, you can trade micros off the 10-minute chart like very simply. You see it very clearly. You have a push up here into the EMAs, and then you have a hammer candle here at like essentially the top of a micro uptrend. You have a inverted hammer candle here at the bottom of a micro downtrend, if you will. I'm kind of doing air quotes like you can see me, but I'm sure you can kind of understand that's what I'm doing. The last thing too that I like actually specifically called out to Robbie was this push into this level here. So we're going to blow up ES here, and I follow ES and I look at ES because ES is quote unquote the king. Now I trade NQ because if ES is the queen, then if ES is the king, then NQ is the queen. Well, I like women. So here we go. This is your gap. Okay, this gap exists from the new contract gap up. So what we're going to do is we're going to go. I'm going to put this on the 30 days, and I'm also going to remove all studies. I just want to like clean up the look here. Okay, so this is what's called a naked chart other than my drawings. So let's go backwards in time. When we had the new contract, and I don't adjust for contract changes, and I have a video coming out specifically about this. When we had the new contract, we gapped up from the 4 p.m. close. Right, that is the end of the 10-minute 1550 candle, the 9:30 open. I mark my gaps from bell to bell. Okay, so marking the gap from bell to bell, we can see that overnight, we wouldn't have known where this gap was really going to be. So like, I don't regard these levels with anything related to the gaps because like I only know that those are levels after this print. Okay, but a couple days later, we come down into this golden zone area. And between the 50 and the 61, I know I have this orange zone, and I'm just gonna delete that for a second just to make things clear. So this green zone that's left over is what is left over, from the gap up, okay? Which I wouldn't have had this. I drew this after the fact. At this point in time, on the 18th of March, I only had this fib. Okay, and I did also have this area here, but I had this fib. Came down to the 61. It held this area, relatively speaking, only one candle closing below and instantly getting reclaimed. Lots of wicks down here showed me that buyers were sitting here. I've also been noticing a lot lately that if I put on the 78, I've been noticing a lot that there's been a lot of interactions here. And like, it's almost kind of like if you were going to call this area the golden zone, I've just been kind of like in my head calling this like the platinum zone because I think platinum is more expensive than gold, right? So That just seems to be like a lot of traders probably are getting in at the 50 and they're getting stopped out on the 61. And maybe there's an algorithm, or it's just people are just playing it more conservatively, you know, on a bigger picture or whatever. But like this is just working out so much more frequently, holding the 78. So now if we, there we go, get my orange zone back. So, but if we follow this over, and we follow this price action over, you see again in the overnight section, we perfectly tap off that 61. It's pretty wild. I wouldn't have instantly gone long there, but there's no reason to, but it's just an instant. It's a funny observation. Then we come back down to in pre-market here. This is on the OPEX day. We hit that same level. We actually break under, right? Like by a couple ticks. If you look at where that white line is, like we just hit this area. We just basically the same thing, double bottom. We push up out of it for OPEX. And now here we are back a week later. So a week later, we're in this same zone for the price, for the same gap area. So when we move down, and now we've gotten into, again, I'll delete this. Oops, actually, right. So when I clear this orange box out of the way, what you'll see is this is the area that we had the we had not touched yet. That's 78. Okay. So that way when I control Z, it'll go right back to where it was. So we moved down into this area. We cleared out under 78.6. And what we do, we go up to the 50. The fact that we formed this tweezer top, right, was another reason I was thinking like, nope, we're going back down. We're going to go all the way through. And so from here at 62s, I was thinking we're going to get the move to 37. So that's 25 points, right? And then of course, like what do? We move down, we kind of base under this area, and then we fly. Okay? We don't even come back up here to test these wicks. So, you know, there's like buyers who are just stuck. They just get pushed out. And not only that, once we've come all this way, I was expecting that we continue to lower and actually fill this orange box. So this orange box is a little bit different. I drew this off of the actual 5 p.m. close to the actual 6 p.m. open. So this would be like kind of like your extended hours gap and what actually was the true gap from Friday's settlement price to Sunday's opening price. I just wanted to see how it would be to interact with it. And you can see like we started to have this bounce here, but like it just didn't do anything. You know, and then by this point, like after we've had all this price action, I'm going to like for the most part disregard the top of the box. Like I just wanted to see sort of like, you know, hey, we're in that area. I wanted it to trigger my mind to look because I don't typically trade ES, right? But I want to be looking at what ES does as I treat ES as the quote unquote king. All right. So that was really it. That was what I was looking for to see. And that's exactly how it played out. So when you see all of those, same thing, right? We have a gap above on VIX. So here's where I'm calling out, and here's where I'm calling out that we have room to go lower. You see then that we enter the gap here on VIX, and we move lower, and VIX fills its gap, and now it's done typical thing. Fills its gap, come back down, hit the other side of the gap, comes back up, peaks over the golden zone of this gap, and then starts to flush out. So this is now the lower high, right? So this would be, you know, I'm looking to have this lower high hold here on. Oops. Oh my gosh, I can't type today. I'm sorry. Hold. Okay. And we will extend this out a little bit. You know, I'll shoot out to May and we'll see what happens when it gets interacted with again. All right. So that's it for the afternoon part of it. And I just, again, really want to stress that like, it's not the bottom till it's the bottom. Okay. And like, you're going to know, and there's nothing wrong with paying for higher price for a very confident reversal. I can tell you too that there's been plenty of times where like I've tried to take reversals, or I've taken reversals, and yeah, while they're profitable trades, I truly miss out on what is the big trade, and that is waiting for the pullback versus just like saying, well, I'm going to get in this reversal. And there's been other times too where I hold too long, you know, and it just fails, right? And then not only did I miss the optimal short entry, actually give too much back on what I have left of the long entry. Because obviously I was taking a scale and then I just give some back and it's away. So Anyways, hope you guys enjoy this video. Make sure you hit me with a like and subscribe. Obviously, I'm going to post more of these as much as I can. And if you found it helpful in any way, shape, or form, please comment down below. Tell me what you found helpful, as it'll be extremely helpful for me. Whatever I can help you in is helpful for me to create and upload more useful content. Thank you for watching.